Hello, everybody, and welcome to another wonderful round here at West Coast Wednesdays. This is Tracklicious. This is round 8 at Zandvoort, and boy, the championship has been hot all season long, and we're about to go into the finale. Ricardo Rivera with 428 points to his name. And then we have Phil Crayothios in P2 with 371, Darren Wicks with 293, 262 for Anthony Kelly, Alex Freeman with 250, 229, for Eric Gakassian, Philip Suazo in 7th, Kyle Hirsch, Professor Kernodis, Neil Kerbel. That's your top 10 right now. Looking forward to another amazing round here at West Coast Wednesday. 45-minute race around the Zandvoort track. We've got some exciting drivers here. We've got everybody from Jake Wells down to Spady Budd and Devin Anthony included in this roster of 18 drivers. Let's take a look at the calendar real quick before we go any further and see what's going on for the rest of the week. What's going on, Squatchmonger? What's going on, Potts Weaver? Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for the love and the support. And for the calendar right now, we're just about concluded with the fall season, but we have the final round of the GT4 rookies coming up for us on Monday, October the 28th for two 20-minute races at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And right after that, following that event, we'll have the GT4 Open Patreon Championship. That'll be taking place at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Nürburgring as well. Unfortunately, the iRacing Championships have been concluded so far, and we're going to move right on over to West Coast Wednesday. Tonight will be the final race, 145-minute sprint race. Mandatory pit stop will be required by all the drivers. Fixed refueling time of 25 seconds. It'll be interesting to see if the GT4 Open is on the Nord. No, GT4 Open is on the Nürburgring. Nords would be crazy, John Wad. GT3 Championship, the staple of the champion. Is it really on the Nords? Oh, wow. Well, the calendar is wrong then. I apologize. Thank you very much for letting me know. The GT4 Open will be at the Nordschleife then, it sounds like. All 4 laps. The GT3 Championship, the staple of the Tracklicious GT3 series, will be run at the Hungaroring on this Sunday to conclude out this championship on October 27th for their 80-minute enduro. Special one-off events we have are Spooky Suzuki on October 30th, the 45-minute sprint race at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Sun Sprint at Zandvoort on November 3rd, 45-minute sprint race. Flooded Silverstone race on November 6th. Don't forget to thank all of our Patreon supporters and subscribers. Thank you very much to all the V12 Exotic subscribers and the V8 Muscle Inline 4 donors as well. What's up, Dr. Porkchop? What's up, John Wad? Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for all the help. Without any further delay, let's take a look at what the drivers are doing out on track. Looks like Jake Wells is leading the charge right now. Jake Wells with a 137.220. Ricardo Rivera with a 137.4, 137s all the way back through P5 in this light mist of rain that we have going on right now. Track is pretty greasy. Overall, conditions are rough for the drivers, but they're doing pretty amazing lap times right now. 37s are nothing to scoff at, that's for sure. Brief drivers in the 38s, that'll be Neil Kerbel all the way down to Curtis Rustin. Then we have Professor Kernodis in the 39s all the way back to Patrick Dubois in 13th. 141 for Eric Gakassian, Buggy Watt, then Aaron John, Devin Anthony, and Spady Budd rounding it out. Time for me to sneak and hydrate while I can. Thank you very much, Adam Strange, for the hydrate. Appreciate the love, man. Welcome to the channel. Or at least welcome to tonight's race. Wells, if he manages to keep it on track, well, Wells, if he manages to keep himself away from a drive-through penalty. Am I right? Am I right? Pottsweaver, hope your hand is healing up well. Indeed, lots of scab and scar tissue. Oh no. Hope you're able to come back swiftly, but when you're ready, obviously, Potts. Buggy Watt pulling off the track right now. Here's Jake Wells in that number 527 for Jake Wells Racing. Not driving his Samurai car tonight, it looks like. This will be the last lap for most of the drivers. The last of the lasters will be the number 42. That should be Professor Chronotis. Number 81 will not get another lap going for them. That 81 car will be Phil Cryothios, and he's in third place right now. It's the first driver to take the checkered flag. Jake Wells getting a little squirrely there. Where are we out on track? We should be at Mastersbach and going in towards turn 9. And turn 10, away we go. Things look pretty neat and tidy. We were just here for the GT4 round, obviously, so it was a lot of fun to drive around here in the GT4s and watch the drivers have their battles left, right, and center. All things to consider, Jake Wells is in first place right now. Ricardo Rivera in P2. Jake Terrell is in third. Cryothios is in fourth. Freeman's in fifth. Neil Kerbel in sixth. Kyle Hirsch in seventh. Anthony Kelly from F&M is in eighth. Curtis Rustin, Darren Wicks, Patrick DeBoe, Professor Chronotis, Suazo, Eric Akasian, Buggy Watt, Aaron John, Devin Anthony, and Spady Bud rounding out the championship, or rounding out the standings, I should say, right now. The 787 was unable to produce a faster lap time.
Alright, there is some rain in this session, so watch out for slippery curves and remember to brake earlier.
Looks like rain minus coming in over the next 30 minutes for these drivers. Brief glimpse that it was going to get a little bit drier up right now, but I doubt that will be the case. Potts hears the raindrops falling on his head. They keep falling on his head. Get ready to do the livery showcase, obviously. And we've got a short formation lap here. Track is officially wet, though. It seems like the drivers might be starting out on wet tires. We'll have to see during the livery showcase if any driver was brave enough to start on dries. Well, let's go ahead and start the showcase right now. Oh, Jake Wells is on dry tires in that 527 right now. It looks like, at least, until he changes his setup here. 136.5 for him. Ricardo Rivera starting on wet tires, it looks like, in the 787 in second place. Then we have Jake Terrell in the 83. He's in third place overall for the Royal Drambies Racing. Odyssey Esports Cryo, this is Cryothios, in the 81 in fourth place. Alex Freeman for AF Sports, he's on dry tires right now in the number 14. Neil Kerbel from the Neil Kerbel's race program, not space program, in the 395. He's in sixth place. Professor Chronotis, I beat Jeff Spangler on pace alone once upon a time, and the number 42 is in seventh place. Kyle Hirsch, the Dive Bombers, in the number 21 is in eighth place. Anthony Kelly from FNM in the number 7. He is in ninth place, starting from the grid. Curtis Rustin in the 868, the Drive Motorsports team. He's in 10th place overall. Darren Wicks in the Greenlight Racing car is in the number 46 in 11th place. The number 87 of Patrick Dubois for Rockefeller Racing in the number 12 spot. Philip Suazo in the number 213. He's starting in 13th position. Erica Gukasian, Rising Suns Tracky by Jet, the number 5 in 14th place. Buggy Watt, the number 410, is starting in 15th position. Aaron John, the number 256, is starting in the 16th spot. Devin Anthony, the Rockefeller Racing car, 664, is in 17th position. Spady Bud for the Mad Fox Sim Racing team is in the 221 in 18th spot. Let's see if Jake Wells is still on. He might still be on dry tires, actually. That's nutty. Anybody else? I see a Pirelli logo on the side of those tires, but we have seen a graphical glitch before. Doesn't mean that that's entirely true. Got confirmation from the viewers. They're seeing dry tires as well. Drivers are getting ready to take the green flag here. And it'll be all said and done in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green, green, green. Away we go, everybody, in towards turn 1. We'll have to see how these dry tires work out for Jake Wells and Ricardo Rivera right now. Jake Wells is getting a little squirrely there through Tarzan, and all the drivers are getting a little squirrely as they get through turn 1, but everything seems very neat and tidy for all the drivers. Neil Kerbel able to make up a position around Professor Chronotis for just a brief moment, but Chronotis snaps right back and is able to get that position back very quickly. Kyle Hirsch having an incident, falling back into the 18th spot. If we can get a quick look back at the number 21 and see what happened here. Just goes a little bit deep and wide for the number 21. Braked a little later on the outside, ran straight to the wall, dragged Aaron John in with him as well. There goes side-by-side action through turn 10. Ricardo Rivera around the outside, but Jake Wells up the inside, getting a little power down right there, a little power wiggle, and Ricardo Rivera might be able to drive right on through of Jake Wells. Jake Wells trying to snap back, going in towards turn 11 through Hans Ersbach, but no, he can't do it. Almost gets run into the back too by the BMW, but it's awfully damp out right now. The track is gone from wet to damp, so the track conditions might actually go Jake Wells' way. He's still getting a little squirrely there going over the curbs. Cryothios having an accident, I believe, with the number 81. That is the number 81 having a bit of an accident. Not sure what happened there. Waiting for it to pop up. Let's see if we can catch what happened to the number 81. Going into turn 11, it looks like. Number 81 just goes a little bit deep and wide over the curbs, trying to rejoin the track, and he is able to do so pretty well. Basic Focus is game crash. Oh no, that might be Spady Bud, I think. I've been hearing a lot about ACC issues, by the way. Game crashing and the whatnots. Jake Terrell, no! The number 83 drops out as well. Spady Bud is still in the race. Not the way we want to see these battles end, Jake. Red flag for Jake Terrell. Unfortunately, unable to finish this one out, but a lot of drivers still out there. 17 drivers still battling it out. Darren Wicks leading Suazo, leading Patrick Dubois right now. This is the battle for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, all within about a second and a half of each other. Aaron John getting a position over Devin Anthony, the Rockefeller Racing car, 664 through turn 10. And towards turn 11, he might go for a snap back there on the inside. No, doesn't want to go for a move. Just wanted to scare Aaron John into thinking he was going to make a move, but didn't quite go for one there. Oh, there's a squabble for positions up ahead, though. There goes Suazo up the inside line. Looking at Patrick Dubois, trying to get a move done. Darren Wicks is able to get by Anthony Kelly for just a moment. Looks like Suazo does get around Dubois. And that's the inverted position of 10 and 11. Cryothios having an incident after colliding with Neil Kerbel there at turn 3. And it looks like he's stuck there on the outside of that corner. And that will have championship implications because, well, not really, because Cryothios really has sealed P2 right now in the championship. And so is Ricardo Rivera. Battle right now is really between Darren Wicks, Anthony Kelly, Alex Freeman, and Eric Kakasian. Darren Wicks doing a good job of keeping the car straight right now. He's in 7th position overall. Need positions made for Alex Freeman in 14th, in the number 4 spot, excuse me, in 14th. Double check if Ricardo Rivera's on slicks. Doesn't look like it. I believe he is on wet tires right now. Last lap around being a 141.547 compared to Jake Wells driving 42.7s. So almost a full 1.2 off of the pace of Ricardo Rivera out in front. I don't see a lot more rain coming down. Let's go on board and see if there is rain coming down. There is rain getting spitter spattered onto Ricardo Rivera's windshield, but it looks like a dry line is forming. It's not too moist out there right now. Side-by-side action. Where is this Cryothios trying to get by Eric Kakasian now? This is 12th and 13th. Cryothios on a recovery drive. Was in 3rd place overall, but that's gone to Neil Kerbel after a little bit of a collision there. And the 41 lap time does make sense compared to Jake Wells doing 42s on slicks during this damp condition. There goes a look up the inside. That's Eric Kakasian and Spady Budd. Neil Kerbel has caught up to Jake Wells. There's a phrase I thought I wouldn't say in a long time. But Jake Wells is struggling on those dry tires. Neil Kerbel avoids the disaster that Jake Wells has run into the wall with. And now Neil Kerbel is passed and into 2nd position overall. That'll be a good haul of points for Neil Kerbel. Full onboard lap with Kerbel. You want it, you got it. Coming in towards turn 2 and into turn 3 right now. He's taking the Formula 1 line a little bit, going a little bit deep there. But just the camber alone will suck the car back into where it's supposed to be. Coming through the fast S's right now. The car is planted and doing very well and into Shivelac. Stays to the inside line, hugs the curb, pushes all the way out to the exit throttle, and then gets over this curb, but not touching the sausage-like curb, the big bump. And he's not using all the track space here at turn 9 to go on the entry, but he's doing a good job negotiating this one. Through turn 10, brakes at the Marshall post, gets it set up for the 3rd straight. in through turn 12 over the chicane. Doesn't take too aggressive of a curb. Doesn't want to upset the car's balance too much during these wet and tricky conditions. Oh, but he has a bit of an oversteer moment there when he applied the throttle coming in through turn 14. And now getting to the line, he's doing pretty well. Let's see what this lap time is for Neil Kerbel. 142.1 right now, and in through Tarzan Balk. He's doing a great job keeping this car planted going forward, left, right, and center. Let's see how he negotiates turn 3 this time. Goes a little bit deep there again, but holds onto that V-shaped line. Doing a great job of driving this one forward. Thanks, Potts. I used to be a driver, you know. I kind of know stuff about cars. I swear, I was a has-been, not a what was. Wait, hold on. The other way around. I'm not sure. Jake Wells tumbling down the order now, stuck back into 5th place during these wet and tricky conditions. And more clouds and more rain coming in over the next 30. This might not be Jake Wells' opportunity right now. I'd love to race with you guys too one day. It's been a while since I fired up the rig. It's been a while since I've been able to drive for more than 20 minutes. Maybe we'll have to hop into some non-disclaimer hourly race one day and all get together and try to get into the same lobby. Let's go back to Autopilot and see what Autopilot has for us. A battle between Patrick Dubois and Eric Akasian. Eric Akasian chasing down Dubois, the number 87. Number 5 doing a good job of trying to keep in touch right now, battling for the top 10, but he really needs to get some more moves done. If he wants to get past Alex Freeman and Anthony Kelly in the championship, he's got to make up more moves and be better than the top 10. That's for Eric Akasian. That's a good point. It is getting close to off-season time. It would be a great time to do public lobby days. I'm not against that. Krauthios, Hirsch, and Aaron John all taking their pit stops so far. Taking them nice and early. We know that Kyle Hirsch had to repair quite a bit of damage. So that's why he took his pit stop early. And hopefully he'll be on the recovery. There it is, a touch from Eric Akasian into Dubois through turn 10. Backs out of it, regains that position is Dubois. But the damage has been done, unfortunately, for the Rockefeller racing car. And they touch Martin, and they touch Martin. Do I think that zebras and rhinos would get along if they were raised together in an enclosure? Don't zebras and rhinos already get along? Can you Google that for me? You must have meant catch like a fish. He's trying to net that thing. Yeah, he's throwing it out there. He's casting his bait, and I think he caught himself a Ford Mustang. Adam Strange, I actually do have an answer to your strange question. You ready? Whether playing ball, chasing, or in racing, or snuggling up at night, Daisy the baby white rhinoceros and Modaji the plains zebra are often inseparable at the care for at Wild Rhino Sanctuary in South Africa, where they were rehabilitated together. There you go. There would be inseparable. Inseparable. You could not separate the zebra from the rhino. This is Wells's time? I don't think so, though, Potts. The track has still stayed pretty wet right now. I think Wells's tires may have just come into play a little bit, but let's go on board and see what Chrono's... Well, let's see what Wells is looking at, actually. He's got a lot of mist in front of him. I don't know how he's managing to stay on track with these dry tires. Chronotis just might be making mistakes in front of him. Last lap time, 42.3 for Jake Wells, though. 42.7 for Professor Chronotis. He's actually one of the fastest cars out on track. And Jake Wells' best lap time being a 42.290. He's quite rapid right now. That's true, Squatchamonger. Slicks on a damp track aren't bad as long as your pressures are good. And maybe that's what he needed to happen. He needed to push those tires a little bit to get into the right phase to help him out a little bit. And plus, if he was struggling a little bit more, I think he would have pushed to go into the pits early. I think if he really didn't like the way his tires were operating, he would have come into the pits a lot sooner than he has, and then opted for wet tires right away to try to make up that time, because he was obviously pole in the qualifying. He's chasing down Professor Chronotis pretty handily here, going in towards Tarzanbach. And turn 3 of Hugenberts. Thank you very much, Fabricio Connect, for the follow. Appreciate the love and support. Here goes Jake Wells looking at the Chrome Dome. Side by side racing through turn 5, and Chronotis goes off. And so does Jake Wells going off there. A little too much oomph, pedal to the metal. Lets Chrono go back through. And Neil Kerbal opting to take his pit stop, splitting this one down the middle. Neil Kerbal stationary for 32.3 seconds, so he obviously did take tires as well. Purple lap on Kerbal, that's absolutely for certain. 41.4 for him. Just like my tea, it's gone cold, and I wonder why. I haven't got a bed at all. Just like the song lyrics. Huh, Dr. Porkchop? Please, someone tell me that they know the song lyrics. My tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why. Well, I had it all. Window, and I can't see it all. And even if I could, it'll all be bad. Put your finger on my wall. You remind me that it's not so bad. It's not so bad. Come on, nobody. I think the zebra and the rhinoceros comment were pretty fantastic. Let me see. Did you know that in Lost, In Lost, Michael Keaton was originally supposed to be cast as Jack. In the first draft of the script, Jack was also to be killed by a monster after arriving at the cockpit. That's a fun fact. Michael Keaton. Could you imagine Michael Keaton being cast as Jack? Whoa, no! Chronotis has a huge tank slapper, goes off there at turn 14, and he is off. Jake Wells gains that position. Let me make sure that there was not any contact. There was no contact. Let's take a helicam view of what happened here. Just goes over the curb and gets a tank slapper. Yeah, at least he didn't go into the wall there. Was Michael Keaton actually Batman? No. One of my favorite roles about Michael Keaton was when he was in The Other Guys. Is Freeman on a heck of a run? He's inherited P2 right now, but he's still got a pit, so Neil Kerbel should inherit second, and Alex Freeman will go back to third right now. I believe that's the case. And Jake Wells, I didn't know that. I didn't know Cascade, and I didn't know about Batman. Nah, Neil Kerbel's going to take the lead. Well, let's look at Anthony Kelly's battle with Professor Chronotis. Chronotis isn't doing so well right now. Check out that car of his. See how much damage he's gotten on it. Doesn't look like he's gotten any damage on that car. Anthony Kelly actually into the pits, trying to perform an undercut on the cars in front of him. That'll be Professor Chronotis and Darren Wicks. Alex Freeman doing a great job driving forward right now. Let's check out the championship standings one more time. So Ricardo Rivera, Phil Cryothios, 1 and 2, both signed, sealed, and delivered. Darren Wicks is in third place with 293. Anthony Kelly with 262. Alex Freeman with 250. So really, check out the scoring as well. 30 points for player 1, 27.5 for player 2. Driver number 3 will get 25.5. That's pretty close as far as points are concerned. Really just 1.5 separating them. Saw a meatball flag. Meatball flag probably for someone's headlights. I think Anthony Kelly might not have his headlights on. Yeah, Anthony Kelly doesn't have his full headlights on. I think he only has his endurance lights on. Could you imagine driving with just your endurance lights on and not the headlights on? Crazy. Jake Wells and Alex Freeman, both of them are into the pits right now, and it looks like all the drivers that are around have elected to take tires. Let's see how Jake Wells does and what his strategy ends up being. Track is still damp overall, but he's splitting this one down the middle pretty much dead on. Phil Cryothios on his recovery drive has taken a pit stop, 45.2 seconds stationary, so not only did he take tires, but he repaired some damage along the way. Give a man a plane ticket, he'll fly for a day. Push a man out of a plane, and he'll fly for the rest of his life. What are you, DB Cooper? Dr. Porkchop? What is this? What is this? That's not a fun fact. That's a terrible fact. I mean, it's a fact. It's a fact of life, I guess. Eric Gakasian out of the pits. Freeman's out. Jake Wells did not take tires. Unbelievable, Jake Wells. Holding on to the fastest lap of the race, though. 41.192. Interesting. Interesting. That switched up pretty rapidly. Curtis Rustin into the pits. Ricardo Rivera's still staying out. Let's see what Rivera's headlights look like. He's still got the wipers on. I'm seeing just a tiny amount of moisture come down, though. Not too bad. Excuse me. Let's see where Neil Kerbel is. Neil Kerbel is in front of Jake Wells. Darren Wicks has not pit, and so Neil Kerbel's doing 41s right now compared to 42 and 43. Wow. Neil Kerbel can and might actually inherit the lead of this race, depending on how long Ricardo Rivera decides to stay out for. If Ricardo Rivera decides to stay on the same set of tires, this will be his, obviously. But if he decides to take a tire change, I think that Neil Kerbel could potentially inherit the lead of this race if he keeps up the pace he's got. Where is the 395 out on track? It's in very clear air right now. Darren Wicks, I believe, coming into the pits. No, Darren Wicks having an incident. The number 46 having a yellow flag. Let's see if we can see what happened to him. Just losing it on the inside of turn 12. Bumped into the wall there for the number 46. Exclamation point curse for who was voting for him. Someone was rooting for him along the way, and I'm going to blame you for that commentator's curse. Patrick DeBoe's into the pits, Darren Wicks, Professor Cronotis all into the pits right now, so this will be really indicative to how the race will go for Neil Kerbel. There he is, back into second place overall. It's about a 55-second difference that you need to take tires. And Neil Kerbel is 58.2 seconds away from Ricardo Rivera right now. If he maintains this pace in just 2-3 laps time, he will get the undercut really done on Ricardo Rivera. And Ricardo Rivera is about to run into lap traffic. Let's take a look at Ricardo Rivera and see if he wants to come into the pits. No, he's staying out there. What's his last lap time? 43.2. Neil Kerbel is doing 41.372. That was his last lap, his fastest lap. Jake Wells into third place, still in the 41s. He's doing 41.8 on dry tires, by the way. Neil Kerbel is pushing hard. He's 57.5 second gap back. So again, one lap, maybe two more laps, and Neil Kerbel will perform the undercut of a century on the reigning champion, Ricardo Rivera. Gaps come down to 56.4 now. The gap keeps coming down slowly but surely. Neil Kerbel's got to keep driving with his heart on his sleeve right now. Having a bit of a wiggle going in towards turn 3, but he's doing all right. Cartavera slowing down lap over lap. Whatever, fool. Thank you very much for the raid of 19. Thank you very much for being here. Ricardo Rivera is into the pits right now. Hold on. Hold on. This will be really interesting. Will Ricardo Rivera decide to take tires? If he does, Neil Kerbel will be very close. Where's the 395 out on track? Coming in through the final sector right now. And entering turn 11 and turn 12. Pedal to the metal, Neil Kerbel. Pedal to the metal. Ricardo Rivera still stationary after 40 seconds in the pit lane. I think he's opting to take tires right now. Doesn't feel threatened by Neil Kerbel. The 395 coming around right now. Ricardo Rivera's rolling out of pit lane though. Neil Kerbel might get this one done. Let's see. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight coming out of Tarzan Bach, and Neil Kerbel inherits the lead of this race. Amazing job from Neil Kerbel. He is in P1 on pace alone. Ricardo Rivera is in P2. I haven't had to say that in a long time, folks. Let's give you that full onboard lap right now with Ricardo Rivera as he chases down the reigning champion of the world, Neil Kerbel. The people's champion, I should say. Ricardo Rivera is going to come out on very cold tires. Let's see what kind of lap times he's able to produce. Best lap time from Neil is a 141.2. Best one out of Ricardo Rivera is a 41.5. Maybe this Ferrari is just not operating as well as it possibly could in these rainy conditions or in this damp condition. Neil Kerbel is making that Mustang work very well for himself. Patrick Dubois hit with the drive-through penalty. That'll be for speeding in the pits. Or for track limits. Probably for track limits, I should say. Neil Kerbel getting a little squirrely there coming through turn 14, but he's gaining space between himself and Ricardo Rivera. Gaps at 1.5. 13 minutes and 20 seconds left to go, folks. And that looks like it's Alex Freeman getting out of the way. Aaron John, excuse me. That's not Aaron John. Philip Suazo, possibly? Neil Kerbel is pulling gaps on Ricardo Rivera right now. Keeping that one extremely planted. Goes a little bit deep here. That's Ricardo Rivera making a mistake. Trying to close down the gap a little too swiftly. Allowing Neil Kerbel to make his own little mistake going over that curb. Getting on throttle, Neil Kerbel's rear end slips out just a little bit. Rain light flashing underneath that car. Now they're catching up to Aaron John. And both drivers able to get through pretty well. We were just hoping for just a moment that one driver would be able to get through and the other driver will get held up by a back marker, though. to give Neil Kerbel a little bit more breathing room. Gaps come down to 0.8 of a second. Oh no, lap traffic. Give it. Lap traffic taken away. Oh my goodness. Neil Kerbel gets his way through. Buggy Watt going in between them for just a second, forcing both drivers onto a wide line at Tarzan. Oh, that was so epic. Oh, that was so epic. What an amazing amount of driving, just awareness needed to take place there for both of them to both get caught up in lap traffic like that. Wowza. Oh, that was so much fun. I'm sure the drivers are not saying the same thing in their cockpits right now. A 256 of Aaron John involved in an incident with Buggy Watt. The 410. Oh no, Neil Kerbel with a big drift. Rejoin the track. Rejoin the track, please. Oh, don't leave Ricardo Rivera any space on the inside line. Don't do it, Neil. Don't do it. Go for the move. Go for the move. Don't back out. Never surrender, Neil. And he lets Cryo through for some reason as well. Ricardo Rivera into P1. Neil Kerbel lets a couple of drivers through. Oh, man. Oh, one tiny mistake from Neil in that 395. The pressure cooker got to him. Epic battling from Neil Kerbel for as long as he was able to last, but I wish he would have kept his foot into it. See what tires Jake Wells is on right now. Looks like he's still on those dry tires, obviously. 27.5 seconds stationary, unable to produce anything else. Stop go 30 for Buggy Watt. That'll be for speeding in the pit lane. Would a dragon never explode? What if two dragons were fighting at the same time, and one was an ice dragon and one was a fire dragon? Wouldn't the fire dragon theoretically melt the ice dragon? Side by side between Jake Wells and Neil Kerbel right now. Jake Wells on those dry old tires, Neil Kerbel on the wets. Neil Kerbel snapping back, making a look on the inside line at turn 12. Kind of went for it there, but the 527 got the car planted well before. You'd get steep. Oh no, Neil Kerbel. No, Neil Kerbel, no. Not like this. Not like this. The number 81 of Cryotheos was spun out, and Neil Kerbel had to take avoiding action there. Get a quick 30 for 30. Coming in through the final corner. Think he just finds a Cryotheos spun out. Oh! And Neil Kerbel narrowly avoids that one. Man. People still have their money on Jake Wells. 41.9 Jake Wells' last lap compared to Ricardo Rivera's 41.0 flat. I'm not so sure. Keep our eye on the prize though. 2.8 second gap separating these drivers. That means that Jake Wells would have to be about maybe about a half second faster to make it to the end of this race. And right now he's about a second slower. Let's see. That was with an overtake. That was with him being behind Neil Kerbel. Let's see what Jake Wells is able to produce. Kyle Hirsch getting passed by Phil Cryothios on his recovery drive. Take a look at Jake Wells' lap time. 2.6 second gap now. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd like to be pleasantly wrong about this one. Jake Wells takes the fastest lap of the race. He's half a second faster than Ricardo Rivera right now. Ricardo Rivera's last lap being a 141.1. Jake Wells being a 140.655. Wow. This is going to be a heater getting it to the finish line, isn't it? I told you he needed about a half second in pace every single lap forward. Let's see if he can maintain this consistency, though. Oh boy, oh boy. Go around this 2.6 mile track a couple more times, I think. 140, 280, that's 310, 450. It'll be close if we'll get 3 or 4 laps. I think we'll get 4 more laps. This one plus 3 more, obviously. Or I might actually get this one plus 4 more, excuse me. Gaps come down to 1.8 for Jake Wells Racing. $41.2 for Ricardo Rivera. 140.4 for Jake Wells. Gap is coming down, but catching is one thing. Passing will be a whole nother ball game, folks. Especially passing a guy like Ricardo Rivera. Let's take a look at Darren Wicks trying to do his recovery drive and get past Eric Kakasian. Wells and Rivera wreck. Kerbal still wins. Maybe. Here goes Darren Wicks around the outside, trying to get a switchback engaged, try to get past Eric Kakasian. Eric Kakasian's not providing any daylight between the mayo and the mustard, therefore Darren Wicks has nowhere to go but stay single file line for now. Darren Wicks in the number 46 Porsche Martini car. Gaps come down to less than 1 second between Jake Wells and Ricardo Rivera. Rambler, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you very much for being here to support the Tracklicious team and partnership. And gap is really less than 8/10 right now. Another fast lap for Wells indeed, 140.242. He's found the rhythm, he's found the rhyme. He's time to get jiggy. It's bobsled time, baby. 141.1 for Ricardo Rivera last lap around. Those wets are not serving him any good anymore. Jake Wells is working the slip and slide like a champion. Now making a look at turn 9. Yeah, Ricardo Rivera goes a little deep. Jake Wells trying to go around the outside line now at turn 11. Switchback engaged, though, goes over the curb for good measure. Now they're going to be fully alongside, side by side. Jake Wells coming down towards turn 11 has the lead of this one. Will Ricardo Rivera try to be later on the brakes? No, he knows he wasn't fully alongside. Jake Wells inherits the lead in a first place for the number 527 in front of Ricardo Rivera. Whoop, there it is. All my single ladies go, whoop, there it is. 1 minute, 30 seconds left. This will be the final lap for the drivers getting to the line. This will be it. Jake Wells knew he had to get it done in 1 lap or sooner. Did a great job driving this one forward. Hopefully he can get it to the line in the same position that he started this race in P1. Ricardo Rivera in P2, Neil Kerbel in 3rd, Alex Freeman in 4th, Curtis Rustin in 5th, Professor Canotis in 6th, Anthony Kelly in 7th, Eric Akassian in 8th, Darren Wicks in 9th, Philip Suazo in 10th, Devin Anthony in 11th, Cryothios in 12th, Kyle Hirsch in 13th, DeBow in 14th, and Buggy Watt in 15th. What's up, Shooty? Welcome to the party. Just in time to watch the leaders cross the line for the final time. The 527 leads the 787. The fully dry strat, woohoo. Absolutely. Crazy moves out of Jake Wells. Getting to the line, finishes the race in P1. Does a slick little pirouette to boot to celebrate his race over Ricardo Rivera in P2, Neil Kerbel in 3rd, Alex Freeman is in 4th place. What an amazing battle between Jake Wells, Ricardo Rivera, and Neil Kerbel. Alex Freeman is in 4th place, Curtis Rustin in 5th, Canotis in 6th place, Anthony Kelly is in 7th place, Eric Akassian in 8th place, chased down by Darren Wicks. Oh, getting to the line, it's going to be close, but not too close. Eric Akassian leads Darren Wicks by half a second. Philip Suazo in 10th, Devin Anthony is going to be crossing the line in 11th. Cryothios finished the race in 12th, Kyle Hirsch in 13th, Patrick DeBow in 14th, and Buggy Watt in 15th place. Let's head back over to the studio really quickly. Let's get our interviews on. Jake Wells is ready to go. We'll take him first. Jake Wells, what in tarnation were you thinking? Taking dry tires on the start, making me think that it was some sort of graphical error for a while, and then realizing you had something cooking up your sleeve, didn't you? Yeah. Oh man. Crazy. Can't hear Jake apparently. Oh, let's start this interview over again. Now, Jake Wells, how would your race go for you? Let's start this from the top.
Well, oh wait, hold on. I have you running in my background.
Okay.
But it was incredible. It was just insane. I don't even know where to begin. Strategy didn't really pay off in the beginning, and then the weather kind of changed for me, and I stuck with my dries, went into pits, didn't change tires, just stuck with them. Yeah, pressures were real low, but I knew once it was going to it's going to go a little bit drier, the dry line was going to form, and those tires were going to come to life. And they really did.
The race really wasn't going your way at the beginning. I mean, what was going through your head when the race really wasn't going your way? When you were going off track, you're kind of making sweet, tender love to those walls a couple of times. I mean, what was going through your head then? And did you think you were still on the right strategy?
I just I had to stick it out. I knew when the time was going to change, when the weather was going to change, just had to stick it out for a good another 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, it was hydroplaning around the last corner, and then kind of out of that chicane up until the dipper, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was hydroplaning out of there. I think Kerbal and I touched so slightly, and it just messed up my rear. And yeah, I got put up into the wall again, and I was like, oh my god, here we go. But it worked out in the long run. Yeah, I'm sweating bullets.
I bet, man. I bet it was a sweaty race to be a part of. It was a good one to watch. You pulled out a phenomenal strategy. Congratulations on P1.
Thank you. Yeah, and congratulations to Ricardo. I mean, he did everything he possibly could, and he just unfortunately was on the wets. I thought he was for sure going to take dries, but he stuck with the wets.
Yep, he sure did. And especially once you saw the lap time kind of come your way towards that end of the second stint, I was like, man, Ricardo Rivera, maybe he should have been on dry tires. And that's something I'll be sure to ask him when he comes in for his interview next.
Yeah, no. And Ricardo, I mean, he's just so much faster than all of us, but it was one of those things where I won't let him live it down.
You're going to have to change your team name to I beat Ricardo Rivera one time at Zandvoort.
One time, baby. That's all that matters.
All that matters is the last race that you finished, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, I'm done. I retired.
Right on, Jake. Anybody that you want to thank or anything else that you want to mention before I let you go?
No, I just thank people in TRACKILICIOUS as well as in my stream. I mean, the communities together is awesome, and I mean, we all take care of one another, and happy to be here, and I appreciate you guys.
Right on. Appreciate you, Jake Wells. Thank you very much for being here, and we'll talk to you soon next season.
Yep, take care.
Take care. Let's grab Ricardo Rivera next. Ricardo Rivera, the championship winner. Congratulations on securing that. But is this the way that you expected the final race to go?
It was actually really fun, those conditions, because it was like rain, but actually, I don't know, it was between what tires are the best. So it was, I don't know, the one who gambles and get it right at the end was the one that's going to get the race.
Yeah, 100%. At any point, did you consider changing up your strategy to take dry tires?
Since before the race started, like I put fuel to finish the race to be able to change tires whenever it's required, and then I don't know. I was like monitoring the Kimba and Jake Wells behind me, and they were like gaining on me before I pitted, so I decided to pit and was like, whatever, I'm not gonna go to the unknown and put dry tires. The track conditions still the same. The wet tires are like super hot, and I know that maybe are not the best, but I didn't want to gamble and go into the unknown and, I don't know, miss the first corner with the dry tires because I haven't put a lap with them.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. God forbid you do something or have some sort of catastrophic mistake, and then you lose even more time over the long run. 100%.
But just after I exit the pit the following lap, it was like, slick tires optimum.
Oh no.
And I still had like 8 laps of fuel remaining when I pitted.
Oh man.
But I saw since the start of the race, I saw the weather gadget, and the rain kept exactly the same, and it didn't decrease. And I was like, okay, apparently it's not gonna change now ever. And
Yeah,
it did.
it did for sure towards the end of the race.
But I was actually surprised that Kimball was on dry tires, and he was, I don't know, struggling a little bit with the Mustang. I guess that it's crazy on maybe on corner exits and on power, because the Mustang is that's crazy acceleration.
Yeah.
But he was on dries.
Oh, Kerbal was on dries.
Yeah. The second stint he was dry. I asked him, and he was on dries. I
Oh
was
wow,
surprised.
I'll have to talk to him about that. I didn't realize that he
Yep.
took dry tires for that second stint. No wonder he was so fast.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you very much, Ricardo Rivera. Congratulations on the win of your championship as well. Anybody that you want to thank or anything else that you want to mention before I let you go?
Thanks to you and everyone on TRACKILICIOUS team, like always.
Thanks, Ricardo
Let's hope
Rivera.
for our next season.
Yeah, we'll look forward to the next season. Thank you very much, brother. Catch you next one.
See ya.
See ya. Neil Kerbal, the people's champion. Hello.
That's too much. Too much.
You were in the lead of the race in front of a guy named Ricardo Rivera at one point. How did that feel?
I was just telling Jake Wells it was completely by accident. I accidentally started the race on wet tires with dry pressures with only
no.
30 liters in the tank. And I rode that until like my tires were on fire, and then I pitted, refueled the car so I had enough fuel to finish the race, switched to dries, and then surprisingly I saw Rivera coming out of the pits right when I was passing, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna take pole.
And you were. I mean, it was very close. We were monitoring the gaps. It was about 55 seconds that you needed to have, and somehow Ricardo Rivera slowed down by just a smidgen when he got to the pit limiter line, and you were able to just snake around him just barely. And then at one point, you were even losing him. You were gaining distance between the two of you. That must have felt pretty good, huh?
It did. I kept at least a second, but then there was that one mistake in like that low grip area, the right and then left-hand turn. I just gave it a bit too much throttle and lost the rear end, went off track. So that was sketchy.
That was a bit sketchy to see you go off track there. And then when you rejoined, I was screaming at the top of my lungs for you to stay on track, for you to not give Ricardo Rivera a chance. And then you let Cryothios back through as well. I was like, Neil Kerbal, no, not like this.
I felt bad about hitting him at the beginning.
Oh man, you should have battled it out. He was a back marker in that case.
I know, but he's fast.
Hit him again, Neil.
Oh. No, it was fun battling with Jake Wells and Ricardo Rivera. Like, they got incredible pace, lots of experience, so it was fun for the short time that I could race with them.
Absolutely. You had some phenomenal pace beneath you as well. You did a great job driving that Mustang forward, especially in those tricky conditions. You did a phenomenal job, and a P3 for you. That's got to feel pretty good in this championship right now.
It does, especially at the end, and like you say, you're only remembered for your last race. So
yeah,
P3 will be held on to for a while, and we'll just call it an accidental P3 because that was completely by accident.
Well, you've gained a haul of points for you in this championship. Hopefully that promotes you further up the top 10. Is there anybody that you want to thank or anything else you want to say before we let you go? The fans are cheering you on, by the way.
Just thank everyone for watching. Thank you, Saagar, for streaming and providing exceptional commentary. I really love it. Brings a joy to my day when I can watch the streams back at work and just listen to the hilarious commentary. And just thank you to everyone who participates in the Wednesday West Coast. I really appreciate everyone who takes time out of their Wednesday to join us and race on track. So, I mean, kudos to everyone. Thank you all.
100%. Thank you to everybody that makes West Coast Wednesdays a dream come true for us here on the West Coast. Doing great things here and there. And then we've had 15 drivers finish up this championship, but many more will be signed up for next season for sure. And thank you very much, Neil, for the kind words. I appreciate you. And we'll let you go and chop it up with the boys. And we're going to wrap up the stream here tonight. Thank you so much, Neil. And congratulations on P3 again.
Thanks, Saagar. Good night.
Good night. Well, everybody, it's been good. It's been fun, but it's sure been some good fun tonight. The round out the West Coast Wednesdays championship with such a banger of a race was a lot of fun, and hopefully it felt that way for Neil Kerbel as well, taking home P3. Things must have felt good for all of the drivers to finish up this championship on such a high note. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you very much for all your lovely participation as well. Stick around for a raid. We're going to stick around and raid someone. Just haven't decided who yet. Oh, we're going to go listen to some music. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. And as always, please stay safe. Goodbye.